Hello,
everyone. Welcome to our Workwolf Wednesday webinar. Excited to have everyone today. We're just going to wait a few minutes and then we'll get started. Just as you're joining, just feel free to type in into the chat where you're located or perhaps what company you're from, just to give us some insight to who you are. Just feel free to share that in as you're joining. So yeah, again, really excited to talk to everyone today. Welcome again for joining. We're going to get started in 1 minute. And as you're joining in, feel free to just put in where you're joining from, your company name, so we just have a sense of who you are, but excited to talk to everyone. Today's an exciting one today because we have our guest from Indeed who we'll be introducing shortly. All right, so hey, Liv, do you want to just share that deck so we can get rolling?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks so much. And for everybody that's joining, this will be recorded and sent out as usual. It'll be accessible on our YouTube channel as well, so everybody will be able to get access to the presentation. All right, everybody. So welcome again. My name is Madhav Mehta. Today we're going to be talking about proven strategies to attract top talent on Indeed. So again, my name is Madhav, the VP of Sales at Workwolf. We've also, from the Workwolf team, we have Mike Nguyen, who is our head of product. So just for those of you who are new to Workwolf, I just wanted to summarize what it is that Workwolf is. Workwolf is an AI hiring platform that's really built to automate the hiring process. Essentially, put your hiring on autopilot. So posting jobs automatically and connecting to job boards, and then automatically screening them with some really exciting AI tools, and using tools like resume screening automation and personality assessments to quickly identify who the strongest potential fits would be for your role. So for example, if you put up a role and you get 100 people coming in to apply, how do you say, I don't want to go through all 100, just show me the best possible fits for the role, while eliminating a lot of the manual, annoying, tedious tasks that you might not love the most in your recruitment process. Overall, what Workwolf would do for you is reduce your time to hire and your overall hiring costs. By the way, an exclusive offer that will be given to any new to Workwolf people today is a 2-week free trial, which will be offered. So just stay tuned for the details for that. That'll be shared at the end of this presentation, and you'll, of course, be able to ask more questions. So again, just some job posting capabilities. This will build into our topic for today. What Workwolf does essentially is give you the option to post unlimited jobs with no geographical limitations. There's automatic connections to different job boards, but the beauty is that all your jobs would be managed in a single platform. And what we will be covering today is there's different job tiers that Workwolf offers. There's free jobs, which would connect to all job boards that stay free. There's also enhanced jobs, which will give you some boost visibility on Indeed specifically. And then we'll also be talking about some paid jobs as well. And today's is really focused on attracting top talent on Indeed, maximizing that reach. Mike, anything to add?
No, I think you covered it all.
All good. So just wanted to introduce our special guest for today. Very excited to have this group. We've been Indeed partners for a long time, but excited to introduce our two guests, Olivia, or Liv, the Senior Account Executive at Indeed, and also Rain, who's the Senior Client Success Specialist at Indeed. So Liv, Rain, welcome.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys, for having us here. Looking in the chat, we are few and far between Ontario and Canada. I see Fort Francis. So there's some really remote areas, and I actually know where that is. So welcome, everybody. So just as a quick agenda that we're going to be running through on our end today. So myself and my counterpart, Rain, we're going to be partnering with Workwolf here on a session to help you unlock the full value of posting jobs on Indeed with our integration with our partners. Rain's going to hop in a few slides later to share some of these practical strategies going forward. So we're going to start with a high-level look at how Indeed connects employers with talent. Then we're going to walk through the job seeker journey and show the importance of how you need to be standing out on our search results page. Then that's when Rain's going to dive into job optimization and share some of our hiring insights in order for you guys to track success and make data-informed decisions. And we'll have time for a Q&A at the end. However, we do want to make this interactive as possible. Feel free to come off mute if you're feeling comfortable, or popping some questions into the chat as we go. Don't hesitate to speak up. We're always here to answer any questions. So before I dive in, is there any top of mind questions anybody asked before we dive into the content? Perfect. All righty, let's get started. So how is Indeed connecting employers to top talent? So if you're new to WorkWolf or new to Indeed, we wanted to kind of give you a high level overview of who we are. Indeed is the world's #1 job site. So we operate in 60 countries and over 30 languages. We have over 350 million visitors each month, with 3.3 million companies who work with us, posting over 24 million jobs, resulting in 27 hires made on Indeed every minute. So by the time we wrap up this presentation, we'll approximately have 1,620 job seekers that will be hired through our platform. It's really inspiring, and honestly, it ties back to our company's mission, which is we help people get jobs. So Indeed has really transformed over the years. I've worked at almost 6 years with the company, working with direct employers and staffing agencies and with integration partners like WorkWolf. And we have been seeing a change not only in job seekers, but also our employers. And our site has needed to evolve from there. So we were once just a search engine, which is a comprehensive hiring platform where anybody can post their jobs to our site. And every day, millions of people turn to Indeed to find their next opportunity. From there, we started working on targeting certain job seekers using mobile first experience, and everybody's on their phone these days, and enhancing our jobs through sponsorship. We help you connect with serious talent really quick and more efficiently, especially when you're integrating with an ATS like WorkWolf, getting your hires directly to your inbox. So now that you know who Indeed is and how far we reach, we want to split things over to the job seeker journey and talk a little bit about putting ourselves in those candidates' shoes. So let's see how they behave. I'm sure you guys know this, you're the HR experts here. It's not always linear. We see that job seekers are browsing roles. They're kind of browsing before they try before they buy, before they're ready to apply. We see job seekers that are researching organizations up to 6 months in advance of launching into an active apply process. So the earlier you can show up in this job seeker journey, the better. Visibility early on increases awareness for job seekers and puts your position top of mind as the candidates explore their next move. The job seeker, the job seeker journey is very similar to the employer's journey. So the journey for employers is also not linear, as we know. But the first step is typically posting a job. And then from there, the average job seeker we find has applied to 27 jobs in a 3-month period before they accept a role. And so with 6 jobs getting added to Indeed every second, this is extremely competitive, into why it's so important for your role to stand out amongst other competitors. So why is it so competitive, right? We've been seeing the market evolve. So not only are 6 jobs added every second, employers like yourself are needing to adjust and adapt to these ongoing sort of issues that everybody's facing. So here are some of the top 4. Has anyone on this call experienced any of these roadblocks? So maybe quality of the job seeker, the quantity, are we getting enough individuals to make that hire? Is the time to hire quick enough? Or is there fierce competition? Are your competitors hopping in with counter offers? Are they staying with these employers? Only 11% of employers actually report an average time to hire of 30 days or less. So we really want to follow up with you guys to figure out how we can close this circle and hire faster and more efficiently. Any questions so far, guys? Are these pain points sticking out to you? Is everybody feeling this?
Yeah, Liv, and some of the feedback that we hear like a lot, and just as people are typing in if they need to, it's like, yeah, definitely these are all the challenges that you've outlined here are what we've heard from our customers at least.
Okay, so it's nice to hear that we're all on the same page so that we know what kind of strategies are in there to get through this, right? How can we identify the quality of candidates? How can we get enough people through the pipeline and to make this hire? So we need to figure out how, because we know that if we don't have a position filled, it does have a major impact on your business. It could have a decline in productivity, there could be loss of revenue, and it could also just increase your attrition across the board. So how are we analyzing the impact, and how can we make sure that we're getting in front of job seekers first to really close the circle? So that leads us into a targeting strategy through the visibility on our site. How can we help? Well, we're going to show you kind of the overall impact of job seekers, how they come to our site, and how they're engaging with your open roles. So I'm going to walk you through now how a job seeker would navigate our site through a search results page, and how this can help with your visibility early on, because it comes up with a couple different things. There's location. So where is your job posted? Where are job seekers seeing this? The timeliness. So how quickly you post your position and how quick job seekers are going to be able to see that role online and apply to it. The content, which Rain is really going to dive deep on how to optimize those postings that can overall get you that level of visibility in order to make their hires. So I'm actually going to open up our Indeed search results page here. Did that switch? Has everybody seen the Indeed page?
Yep, we do.
Okay, perfect. So for the point of this demonstration, we're going to be doing a quick search as a job seeker if I was a sales representative in Toronto looking for a new opportunity. So when you come to our site, I'm on the .ca version because I am Canadian, looking at all of our Canadian people on the call. Hello from Uxbridge, Ontario. So I'm a job seeker looking as a sales rep in Toronto. You'll notice a couple things on our site. The first thing is that on the homepage, it's the what type of job, and the where is that job seeker going to be look for the role. But there's also a few other combinations on the screen. Company reviews. That's where job seekers can go to find out a little bit more about the company. What's in it for them? Why should they join us? That's where you're going to be talking a little bit about your culture and who you guys are. 20% of job seekers actually start out on this page because they're looking for social proof, real world reviews from job seekers and previous employees talking about their employers. So if they're not starting their search on there, those 20% of people in that active research phase, they're going to be doing the live search. And we do have the ability to search in English or French on the Canadian side of the site because there are two languages. So job seeker, if I was a Francophone, I could switch that over. But it is important to note that the only things that changes are the things that are embedded on our website. However, if you are posting a role, let's say in Montreal, and you only post it in English, it's only going to be shown to the job seeker in that language. So it is important as a way to optimize those posting is to put it in both languages, in both the job title as well as the job description. But if we're an Anglophone, we're searching for a sales rep role in Toronto, this is where I would start. So typing in sales representative and in Toronto and click find. So from there, there's a couple things you'll see off the bat. There's advanced filters that are built into the page where job seekers can change this depending on if they're looking for a remote, if they're looking for like a full-time or a part-time position. All of these parameters can be changed. However, the default when job seekers visit this page is to a 25-kilometer radius. So although I posted the location as Toronto, you're also going to see that roles in Mississauga would be pulling up as well because they're within that 25-kilometer radius. And these jobs are automatically sorted by relevancy. And relevancy is really up to two things: the positions in there, the job optimization that Rain's going to be chatting about. Is the job title, are the keywords in there? Is the search engine optimization optimized in order for InFront to get in front of these job seekers? The other way to stay relevant and on top of this page is to sponsor your role. So I'm going to be diving into that here shortly and kind of sharing some stats on that. But the reason why we invest in sponsorship on these jobs is because if I was a job seeker in Toronto looking for a sales role, there's over 500 positions for me to be looking through, right? As I scroll down on this page, I'm a bit of a sea of sameness. There are so many positions. How do I figure out which role should I be applying for? When I scroll all the way to the bottom, there's over 5 to 10 pages that people would be searching through. And as you remember, 6 jobs added to Indeed every second. So this is only going to be going up and up and up. And these jobs are being served to job seekers like a conveyor belt. So over time, they might not be following your position. Job seekers can also sort by date. So if you are posting a position today, that would be the position that would come up first. but it is important to note that everything is defaulted to relevancy. And you'll note too that it does not list on any of our ads what date was posted. So that is hidden from all employers on anything. So job seekers can't see the date that you added the job. So really the way to get in front of these job seekers is to sponsor your position. So it keeps tiered to the first page. So these job seekers don't have to go scrolling and finding you in this sea of sameness. So as I scroll down here, I do want to call out a few different things. There are companies that are urgently hiring. It's shown on there. They're using a premium sponsor job that shows to job seekers that this is something they're urgently making a hire on. There's also individuals that are a featured employer, which is another branded solution that shows this nice little logo on the page that sets them apart here as well. So there's different tiers to sponsorship to keep your job top of mind. You might also notice if we scroll down, this directly schedule interview. This is another component of sponsorship through a sponsored hiring event. So if I was a job seeker, I'm looking for these roles, I could apply today to a protect warranty and hopefully hear back, right? We know 30 days or less to make a hire is not really what's working for employers. So it could be a long time before I hear back, but I could also RSVP and schedule an interview with these employers as well. So there's a lot of different ways for you to enhance your sponsorship and enhance your posting with Indeed to make sure that you're staying on the top of this page. Because there's obviously a ton of different roles that I would be scrolling through. And over time, as more and more roles get added, how do we make sure that your job is set apart? So that's really how the search results page works. I'm going to hop back into the presentation now and talk a little bit more about sponsorship specifically. So by sponsoring your roles through Workday, your ATS, and onto Indeed, we do see that sponsored jobs are 4.5 times more likely to make a hire because they are showing top of mind to these job seekers. They're the first on the search results page. They're easier to captivate that audience and move them from not only an apply today, but a hire tomorrow. And sponsorship is one part of the visibility piece. The other part is the keywords, the relevancy within that. And that's where I'm going to send things over to my colleague, Rain, who's going to talk about the best way to optimize your postings and your job titles.
Thanks, Liv. So as you've seen, optimizing your job posts for visibility can make a huge difference when it comes to attracting the right candidates. But what really brings everything together is the ongoing support and the insights you receive when partnering through Indeed through the Workwolf integration. Now, I spend majority of my days working with job ads. So over the years, I kind of have a little checklist on the different parts of the ads that can be optimized for better performance. So the first thing I look at is the job title. So just making sure that it's clear, easy to understand, and most importantly, keyword friendly. And there's really 3 questions that I ask myself and I ask my clients to really reflect on. So 1, are we using internal jargon that job seekers wouldn't search for? 2, are there unnecessary words or punctuation? And 3, what are the keywords that are relevant to use? For example, if we are hiring for a sales representative in Toronto, the ideal title I would simply choose is sales representative. And you'd be surprised at how often I see titles like sales ninja or sales guru, which do sound creative, but it just makes it harder for the job to be found in search. Also, titles like urgently hiring a sales representative or sales representative hyphen come join our team today exclamation mark may sound more enticing, but again, they will reduce the visibility because job seekers aren't searching for these urgency words and they're not searching and using exclamation marks. However, adding keywords where it does fit is encouraged. So for example, let's say you want to specify a specific industry, that would be a good way to use it. Or if you want to highlight a specific career level. So are you looking for someone who's entry level, junior, senior? And these are really the kinds of words that will help you connect to the right candidate.
Right. When you're looking at job titles, like I know that I think you may even be getting into this, is sometimes like I'll see that people will use acronyms. Like they'll say like pharmaceutical AE instead of writing pharmaceutical account executive. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, good question. I always recommend just adding in the actual words. I think it makes sense for some industries. Like, for example, if we're looking in healthcare, I think most people know what RNs are or LPNs, and people do search using those abbreviations. Um, but other than that, I would just use the full word. Perfect. So, with that being said, your job title length also matters because 70% of job seekers are searching on mobile devices on Indeed. And because of that, we recommend keeping job titles under 35 characters just to ensure that they display fully on a smaller screen. Of course, we want to avoid our titles from looking cut off or incomplete on a mobile device. And then here are just a few more best practices, some do's and don'ts. So if we're looking at the recommended, if there's a language requirement and you need someone bilingual, then you can definitely add that word in. Or perhaps you want to describe a job type. So if it's part-time, full-time, contract, definitely add that in. But I specifically want to emphasize more of the don'ts. So again, don't add any unnecessary symbols or urgency phrases or promotional language, just because those kinds of titles may look too spammy or maybe low quality. And these are the titles or jobs that could get flagged by Indeed's trust and safety team. And by flagged, I mean they can temporarily remove your job from the search page until you correct the title. And if you take a further look into the list, you'll notice that a lot of the things here don't need to be in our job title. You can always add them into the job description if you absolutely need to talk about it. And if your jobs are ever flagged for these reasons, this is where Indeed and Workwolf can really step in. And not only can we help you restore visibility to your jobs, but we can also advise you on a better title that we know would deliver the best results and the best performance.
So Rain, sometimes we do have that. Like we'll have like people that they'll write like if there's a specific license requirement, they'll say like, in the job title, it'll say sales representative, and in the bracket it'll say X license required, or it'll say like 100% commission-based role. But what you're suggesting, like 100% with the commission symbol, like the percentage symbol, that's something that you'd want to avoid, is not putting that, something that we move to the job description, but not necessarily in the job title.
Exactly, because people are not searching up 100%, commission on that what section. So information like that is better off being added into the job description. I also recommend if clients really want to see how a title like that performs, like you can always test out the two job ads, run them at the same time, and see which one gives you the better results. So you can do it that way as well. All right. So when it comes to the job description, there's also a lot of room for improvement there. And if we're thinking about a job description, it usually consists of the company overview, some responsibilities, and some qualifications. But what's just as important, and preferably I recommend you adding it to the top of your ad, is mention something about your company's culture and their benefits. I call this the what's in it for me section or what's in it for the job seeker section. So when we're talking about benefits, it can include, like health insurance, different bonuses, but if your company has different like cultural perks, like let's say half day Fridays or maybe like monthly social gatherings, definitely highlight that in your job description as well, because that's what sets you apart from other employers. And it's also what converts a job seeker from someone who has just clicked into the ad into someone that is confident and is motivated to actually submit that application. And then lastly, salary is also key, of course. Indeed data shows that job postings with a salary range receive up to 30% more applicants than those without. So if you have a competitive salary, definitely add it in. And even if your salary isn't as competitive, I still recommend adding it in anyways. Also, 64% of job seekers would leave their current role for one with better pay and benefits. So again, definitely add these two things in your job description. Now, Indeed also has a report called the Hiring Insights that we'll show you in a bit, but it's essentially a report that will show like how competitive your jobs are, the average salary for your role, and then relevant keywords that you can use for your job titles and your job descriptions. Now, a benefit with working with Workwolf would be that you would have access to these hiring insights. So Liv is just showing an example of insights for a sales representative in Toronto. And if we scroll down a bit, we can see a bunch of information here. So first things first is the competition score. We can see here that the competition score for sales reps in Toronto is low, meaning there's just significantly more job seekers than there are employers or job ads. And the number of job seekers per job is also higher, meaning that there's just overall more supply and talent out there. And on the flip side, if your job competition score is high, it means that the number of job seekers per job is much lower, meaning you may have to look into strategizing a bit more. So maybe looking at what your sponsorship budget is and perhaps increasing that so that you also increase visibility for your ads during the times these limited candidates are online. We can also see if we scroll down to the mobile device usage that over half of the applicants search via a mobile device. So it's important that ads are mobile optimized, and we can get into what that exactly means later on. But to the right, we see the average salary for this title and location, and we can view it by hour, month, or year. And if your pay is on par or maybe even higher than this, definitely mention it in your ad. And if it is on the lower side and you find that you're getting very few applications, maybe consider adjusting the salary if it is possible. We also have the top search term. So this shows the most common words job seekers are using to search for this type of role. So we should always consider using these words for our job titles or words to add into the description. I would also just use like common sense as well and best judgment. So for example, sales representative is number 2 here. I wouldn't want to select the first word as my job title. So I'll just stick to sales representative. But of course, to make my ad more relevant to job seekers, I'm going to go ahead and choose to just add those additional words into my description. We also have the top employers by clicks. So this shows which employees received the most clicks for this role and location. So the companies here would be your competition. So I would just use this section to see how they're positioning their ads, maybe what they're offering, and hopefully with a few adjustments to your ad and some time, you can make it a goal for yourself to see yourself on this list as well. We also have some candidate demographics. So just looking at the education level and the years of experience. If we're looking at the education level, let's say you are asking someone for to have a master's degree, but majority of the job seekers based on this report have a bachelor's. Perhaps you want to adjust this requirement in your ad. Or maybe you're looking for someone with 6 years of experience, but based on this report again, most have 5 or less years of experience. It may be worth it to drop this down just so more people feel encouraged to apply. And then lastly, we can see the most common employers. So the most common employers will help you identify where most of the existing talent currently is or has previously worked. And then to the right, the popularity of each location would help you decide which location makes the most sense to advertise in. So for example, let's say you are advertising in Etobicoke, but the Hiring Insights report tells you that majority of the job seekers for this role are in Toronto. Because the travel time makes sense between the two cities, I would just go ahead and advertise the ad in Toronto because I know that my ad would get more traction there. And again, these are insights that can help you shape your job ad, and they're constantly changing month to month because job seeker behavior also changes. So if you ever want to review the previous month's reports to kind of help you understand your ad performance during different times of the year, Workwolf will be able to pull that for you. And as you can see, there's a lot of information we can choose to include in our ad, but it's essential to remember that your job posting is exactly that. It's an ad. It shouldn't be a novel. You shouldn't be adding too much information, too much detail, because if it is too long, there's two things that can happen. One, candidates may see the lengthy job description and they will just skip to the next job instead. And you don't want to risk a qualified candidate from doing that. Or the second thing that could happen is a job seeker will see all the words, they'll skip reading, and they'll ignore the things like the requirements and the qualifications, and they'll go ahead and apply anyways, resulting in more unqualified applicants, which of course we also don't want. So with that being said, we recommend keeping your descriptions between 700 to 2,000 characters.
So
And
Rain, just a question on the other end is like sometimes what we'll do is we'll see some job descriptions that are very short. Like it kind of just says that here's a position, here's the pay, click here to apply. What are your thoughts on that end of it?
yeah, good question. I don't think it should be too short. I still think it should have all the details that a job seeker would want to read. Maybe put yourself in the job seeker's shoes and kind of ask yourself, what would I want to talk about or learn about in this job description? So again, qualifications, something about the company. I think benefits is really important. And I think if you have all that down, that'll be worthwhile. All right. And then just like for perspective, this job title or this description here is 4,556 characters. So we would ideally want half of this or even less than this. Again, just think of job seekers on a mobile device and what a long job description would look like on their screens and how many scrolls they would need to do in order to just get to the bottom. And I advise if you have a job posted currently, definitely after this webinar, check on them using your phone on Indeed, just so you can check to see what they currently look like and if there's any changes in length or format you'd like to make. which brings me to my next point, mobile optimization. So it's very essential. And the number one way to achieve mobile optimization is by having Indeed apply with all of your jobs. So with Indeed apply, candidates can apply directly on Indeed, and they can upload their resume without being directed to your career site. They don't need to create, an account on your career site where they have to think of a username or password, and they don't have to re-enter the same information they probably have in their resume. And from a candidate's perspective, of course, this application method is faster and it's just an easier way to apply. And from your perspective, an employer's perspective, it means fewer candidate drop-offs and more completed applications for you. And the best part is that though candidates are applying directly on Indeed, their info and their resume will still get sent to WorkWolf, so you can manage your candidates still within the WorkWolf platform. And if you don't believe in the power of Indeed Apply still, stats show that jobs with Indeed Apply receive 45% more apply starts. Employers get 5 times more completed applications, and jobs are 2.5 times more likely to result in a hire because we're just naturally receiving more applications. And this isn't a stat, but Indeed Apply is also free, so it just makes sense to have it turned on. And it's important to note that not all ATS platforms have Indeed Apply. But the good news is that WorkWolf does, which means that every single ad you post through WorkWolf is automatically mobile optimized for maximum visibility and applicant flow. And yeah, with that being said, I'll just pass it on to Marav and Mike to kick off the Q&A portion.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Rain. I think everybody learned a lot. I certainly did. Liv, that was really good, especially with the optimization. Sometimes I feel like as you're posting jobs, you just quickly want to get something out there to fill your role and may not necessarily think about all the implications. So this was great. And just again, as a reminder, we will be sending out a recording of this so everybody will have access to it if you want to go back and check out all that content. But now I would love to just get some the Q&A going. So again, this can be directed to our friends from Indeed, Rain or Liv, or it can also go to WorkWolf as well. Mike, I think there was one question already. Do you want to just go through that one? Or if and as others come up, please feel free to put them into the chat.
Yeah, I think this was early on in the presentation. I think when Liv was speaking, I think it's more so a comment, but we can just bring it up to Liv. So Dina says, I generally love using Indeed and recommend it to all my clients, but lately more and more roles require sponsorship, so we have to find other sources to post. I guess that's a comment. I guess, do you have any insights on that?
Yeah, for sure. There are roles that do require sponsorship on Indeed. So, for example, any of our staffing agency clients, they do have to sponsor their postings. There are also postings that require sponsorship if you're already posting one job. So, let's say you have a sales rep role in Toronto and then you post another position in Toronto for a sales rep. You would have to sponsor the secondary posting because you're already receiving free organic visibility on the one. There's also specific nuances where there's clients that require the job seeker to pay for maybe a licensing or something like that. So the onus is on the job seeker at that time. Those positions are also asked to be sponsored or will only receive sponsored only visibility. So I'm not sure, Dina, of why your role might have been flagged and being pushed and said it need to be sponsorships. There's a million and one reasons. We can always assist on that. But I did see your note, the small to medium sized businesses have smaller budgets. And I can attest to that too. It is hard to compete with like the Walmarts of the world that are out there. But that's also, they lean on their brand awareness and their brand recognition within that as well. And why it's even more important that we kind of keep top of mind for these smaller businesses. So within that, of course, sponsorship is one piece of the pie. We've just rolled out premium sponsors jobs. So you know that you could be kind of tiered to the top and you will be available on page one getting that boost. But there are solutions you can sponsor at a lower amount as well. Just know that you won't be kind of receiving that same amount of traffic. It's really dependent on the number of job seekers in that area. We do have the ability to post provincially or Canada wide as well. So depending on the type of talent pool that you're looking at. But I will say too, I did talk about brand just briefly of coming to company places at company reviews and looking at that as well. So part of the relevancy and making sure that you're on that page and being able to compete against larger organizations is to start with that brand awareness piece too. And the nice thing about enhancing your page on Indeed, we do tier it to the size of your business. So if you do choose to focus on your company page and build that employer value proposition through the Indeed and Glassdoor site, the solutions are tiered to the company size so that like Bob's from Bob's Accounting can compete with the Walmarts of the world, that they will be priced differently based on the organization.
Thanks, Liv. Tracy asks, since I already post all my jobs into Workwolf, do I need to also post them onto Indeed since all my posts, since all my posts automatically get posted on Indeed through Workwolf? Yeah, so all the jobs that you create and post on Workwolf will automatically already be pushed out to an Indeed, so you don't need to create them again. You can manage your jobs as well through Workwolf, and they will get directly managed on Indeed, like creating a sponsored campaign. So all of that is handled on Workwolf, but it's basically that's what the connection between Indeed and Workwolf is. We have that direct integration and partnership where you can just manage everything on Workwolf, and that's reflected on Indeed.
I will say too, sometimes you will get flagged if you're on your own Indeed account and you're trying to open the same position that Workwolf has already posted on your behalf through the ATS. We do have a one source policy so that you can only have one source of jobs. So you're not double dipping. It's confusing to the job seeker if they're seeing the position you posted on your ATS versus you coming directly to Indeed and duplicating that effort. We want to make it as streamlined as possible by posting through your application tracking system of Workwolf and delivering those job seekers on the back end.
Thanks, Liv.
Just Mike, before you go to the next question, I just wanted to just remind everybody right after we're done this in a couple of minutes, we're going to be posting the link on how to get 2-week free access to Workwolf. That'll come right after the Q&A. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Lucas asks, what are the most and least competitive roles? Not sure. Lucas, could you elaborate more on that? Is there a specific industry or something you were looking at? We'll wait for that. We can jump to the next question, which is, what is the turnaround time from posting on Workwolf to generate on Indeed? I think currently it's every 6 hours, right, Rain? The sync?
Yeah, that's correct. Every 6 hours or less. Most of the time it's less, but maximum 6 hours.
Is that, Rain, is that every time, like suppose someone has an existing job up and then they need to make some edits to the existing job, would that also be 6 hours from the time to make the edit?
Yeah, so if it's a new posting, it'll take 6 hours. And if the post is edited, so it doesn't matter if it's like the job title, something in the job description, salary, all of that lie within that 6 hour time frame.
I think we have a hand up. I'm not able to see who it is.
I think it's
Sasha.
Yeah. Sasha, I don't think we are set up so that you can speak. So Sasha, if you are able to, could you write in the chat if you had a question? I guess in the oh, here we go. Lucas actually followed up. He said,
okay.
I mean, which roles have the highest competition among employers on Indeed, meaning many employers are posting for the same position? Which roles have the lowest competition? I guess this is a more of a general question.
Yeah, so I will say that the top 3 searches that happen on Indeed, when we go to the what and the where search results, the first one is just a blank search in whatever city is there. The second one was remote, because the remote jobs have evolved so much over the last few years. And the third is 50,000 is what job seekers are just searching for. They want that baseline salary. When we move over to the jobs that employers are posting and the competition score relating back to hiring insights, I would say there's 2 different verticals that we have been finding are driving the most competitions. And that is anything to do within skilled trades. So anybody upskilling, whether it be a millwright, an electrician, we know that the trades are getting really impacted, as well as with the healthcare industry as well. So since the pandemic, we haven't really been able to recover from the lack of healthcare talent across the board. So I would say those 2 kind of categories of jobs are typically the toughest to fill roles. Rain, would you agree? Mechanics.
Yeah, I would agree. And if you ever want to know for sure, definitely use the hiring insights and use that competition score that I mentioned, just to see where it falls in terms of competitiveness for sure.
I think we're just waiting on Sasha to type her question, but in the meantime, I will add in the link in the chat. And I think on the next slide, we have a QR code as well for anyone, I guess, that wants an easy, quick link on their phone. Lucas asked, what does Workwolf free trial include, and is there credit card required? So there's no credit card required. It's completely, there's no commitment involved. You just sign up. You have access to the full platform for 2 weeks. You have access also to 2 enhanced slots. So this is a small minimum budget, but it is a sponsored budget for 2 jobs. You're able to post those 2 jobs on Indeed and collect candidates and really try out the platform. Matt, anything else I'm missing there?
No, yeah, I think you're all good. The 2 weeks would also include some support from our customer success team. So as you're doing it and you had questions, you're fully supported during that time as well. But there is no, to Mike, there's no credit card required up front. Just a need to hire.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions at all in the chat? I know, Sasha, you there was something coming from you. If there still is, feel free to just add it in. Oh, there we go.
So Sasha says, when I selected your program, I was instructed that I have up to 5 positions or enhanced positions to post, modify, and change them. Seems that offer is not available. Once I post on enhanced, you can change it for the month. So that's correct. So that was a recent change. These enhanced, I guess, positions are enhanced boost. So for your subscription throughout the month, you are able to boost up to 5 jobs. And any more after that, you can either purchase more enhanced slots or you can create a custom sponsored campaign through Workwolf as well. That will go directly to it, Indeed. Hope that answers your question. Can I post it as a BA and change it to a PM midway? I guess I can answer that. We wouldn't recommend it because you'll receive candidates for a BA role, and then if you switch it halfway, the candidates will be mixed with PM. And I'm not sure if it will affect. I'm not sure anyone, Liv or Rain, what your recommendations are, insights on that. But I just don't think we would recommend that from our side.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand changing. What do you mean by BA and changing it to PM?
I think that if they were to post the job under one job title and job description and then changing it halfway, I guess to take advantage of the enhanced boost for that position, or sorry, that job posting. I think that's what they were asking.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. It's just hard to be able to track the analytics and see how those are performing, especially if they're like two different roles that have different hiring needs. Obviously, we can see that there's different parameters around the number of jobs that you're competing against and the number of job seekers available. So it's really hard to like nail down on what budget would perform well with each job, and switching it through the month is kind of confusing to the algorithm in order to get you guys the boosted visibility. When budgets are set up, we typically like to set it up for that set period.
We had some more questions in here. I think this one we could, Matt, if you don't mind taking the how does WorkWolf's AI resume screening works and what are benchmarks? I feel like that's going to be a long answer. We might want to just book a demo with Lucas maybe to kind of go over that. But if you had a short answer.
Yeah, real short answer is the resume screening, the AI resume screening automates manual resume review. So generally, like let's say that you had 100 or 200 people apply to your role, it's great, you've got 200 candidates. But if you want a real quick way to sort out which are the top fitting candidates, you would put in some AI prompts. That could be, I want them to have a CDL truck license. I want them to live in Nashville, Tennessee. I want them to have at least 5 years of experience, whatever those things are. So what we do is say, out of all 100 people, here are the 4 that have exactly what it is that you're looking for. So it gives you a better starting point. Benchmarks are simply a way of identifying the right personality type for the role. So for certain jobs, personality means a lot more. So although they might have the right experience, how do you easily use data to identify the right personality type? So the goal there is reducing turnover. It's finding top performers quickly who come out of the gates and perform faster. So it's more elaborate than that, but just check out our website, and also just feel free to reach out to me if you want to book some time to go through it. Oh, I just want to, oh, sorry, Mike, I see that you've just answered Joy's questions.
Is there a timeline in the month where those 5 enhanced roles get rebooted? So at the first of every month, those enhanced boosts reset. So for that month, you're able to boost 5 jobs. And if you don't boost the jobs, it also doesn't go to waste. Basically, there's an allocated budget that you receive every month, and whatever jobs that you boost within that month get the whole entire budget. It's not like any go to waste. So just want to clarify that. What about candidate searches? Can we do that without technically posting a job, just job spec searches? Not through WorkWolf, but I believe Indeed, you guys have a feature to do outbound searches, if that's correct. You recently rolled that out?
Yeah. Yeah, so we have smart sourcing, which has 2 components where we do a sourcing and matching directly to the jobs that are pulling through from the application tracking system. So those are match candidates. And we also have an open search forum. So you can use keywords or Boolean searches, advanced filters to really narrow down on the type of job seeker that you're looking for. There's 2 different modules depending on if you're looking globally or across Canada. There's a standard subscription that gives you 30 contacts a month and 100 contacts a month for professional subscriptions. And there's a lot of really great AI features to help you streamline the type of profile that you're looking for, embed a messaging within that. And you can do unlimited searches without having a subscription. But if you are looking to reach out to them, send an outbound message, you do need to purchase a subscription contacts, either 30 a month or 100 a month. But pricing is dependent on your location.
Okay, I think that is it. We have one question from Lynn, but I'll handle that offline. 2 different levels of subscriptions. I think Joy is
Yeah,
talking about
just regarding the smart sourcing. Yeah, there's 2 levels. So there's a standard subscription, which is 30 contacts a month, and the professional subscription gives you 100 contacts a month.
Perfect. Any other questions from the group? Just a reminder, if anybody wanted to take advantage of our exclusive offer for those on the webinar today for the 2 weeks free, Mike had put it into the chat as well. So it's right there. He's just posted it again. So leave that up for a couple of minutes. Are there any other last questions? Well, thank you everyone for joining today. Liv and Rain, we appreciate our friends at Indeed. This was great. Appreciate you coming on, talking to us. I think everybody learned a lot. We certainly did. So again, thanks so much for doing that. Thank you, Mike, and thanks everyone. Again, the recording will be available. We'll send it out. It'll also be available on our YouTube channel too. And if you have any other questions, you can just reach out to anybody that was a part of this today.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Thanks,
Liv.
everyone.
Thanks, Rain.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.